Have you ever been in this situation? So you're sitting there, you're practicing, and it's going good, whether it's an instrument or singing. You get to that point, and no matter what you do, it's just not working in that moment, and you feel like, well, that's it, I'm giving up. If that's you, well, I hope that this story I'm about to tell you is going to be some help. It really helped me, so let's get right into it. Okay, so if you're new to this channel, my name's Crafty, and years ago I was studying a diploma of music as a guitarist. And one day I just happened to be hanging around in between classes in like a lobby area. Let's all go to the lobby. I saw the drum teacher chatting to someone, and I thought, oh, I might just go over and see what they're sort of chatting about. And so it's kind of one of those situations that's like I wasn't in the conversation, and I probably wasn't eavesdropping on something that was very private, but definitely felt weird, like, should I be listening to this? And I'm really glad that I did, because it stuck with me to this day. And so I'm going to tell you about it. Hopefully it sticks with you. So the drum teacher was telling the person he doesn't understand why people have so much drama in improving on whatever it is that they're having trouble with. Because if you can isolate whatever the weakness is, he's like, just make a little exercise out of it.
All you have to do is make a game of it.
Now, the example that he was using was a drummer that's having trouble in hitting a kick pedal twice really fast, like a double hit. Now, he would have had a lot of students, I guess, that would have had drummers with this. And the thing he found really peculiar is that a lot of drummers, they don't just sit there and just focus on that one movement. Whatever the movement with their foot, their toes, their ankle, whatever it is that it needs to do in order to be able to achieve the fast speed, the drummers would be practicing other stuff. And so they weren't isolating what it was that they needed to do. And so what he was telling the person was, it's just so much easier and clearer if you just focus on this one thing that's a weakness. And it's only a matter of time before all of a sudden that movement that wasn't something that you could do with ease, it becomes that just by going through the movement in repetition, in repetition, in repetition, in repetition. He said that that's all it is that you need. So by not using your practice time to just go through the things that you can do, if you just set them aside and focus on the stuff that you need to work on, well, then the things that will be feeling intimidating will be less intimidating. So let me ask you a quick question right now. Did anything that I overheard the drum teacher saying resonate with you just now? Did anything just sort of go ding? Any light bulbs? Because for me, it changed the way that I've practiced over the years. It really was a hard thing for me to really be able to push the stuff that I could do aside, because when you sit down and you're playing, or when you're practicing singing, whatever it is, you want to go through some of the things that you are comfortable with and that you are familiar with, because it makes you feel good. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. And in order to not do any of those things, it's very confusing. It's like, do I have to keep bashing my head against a brick wall? But if you don't have some time set aside to actually work on the things that you need working on, well, then it's always going to be there as that itch that needs scratching.
Do or do not. There is no try.
And so for me, some specific ways that I changed in my practice time was, one, I just was able to make fun exercises out of potentially really annoying things. Having to do the same thing over and over wasn't annoying if I made it a fun exercise. And another thing that I would do is I would incorporate into the songs that I would be either performing or just in other practice time songs, I would be incorporating the things that I was working on. Even if they weren't really there yet, then I was helping the process of developing the things that I need working on. And the other main thing that really helped me with my practice was just knowledge that it's just a matter of time.
Great Scott. I know, this is heavy.
So no matter how hard something might seem, you can do it, and I can do it. It's just a matter of time. You just have to figure out what are the steps.
You can do it!
All right, sounds simple, huh? But why do so many people fail at this? As I was leading to before, if you're not able to isolate what your weaknesses are, well then that's going to make it hard to be able to know what to work on. And then if you do know what the weaknesses are, but you're not really sure of what steps to take, well, that's going to be hard as well. And the other main fail reason is no follow through. And this could be for a few reasons. It might be that you're not disciplined enough. It might be that you're just not able to enjoy the process, or you don't have a strong enough vision of the finishing line.
You're doing it.
Doing what?
Using your imagination, Peter.
Now, if that last item is something that you're really resonating with, well, I've got a little quick exercise for you to try. Basically, just shut your eyes, and then with your eyes shut, visualize what would life be like if your weakness wasn't a weakness anymore. And then really take notice of whatever comes into your mind. And then once you have a really clear idea of what that is, that'll give you some really good motivation and just a clearer picture of where it is that you want to get to, and will really help turn your fail into a triumph.
Oh, another triumph.
Now, another thing that really trips people up is not being able to slow down when you're learning something.
Slow down!
You're hearing something at a faster speed and you're just trying to do it straight away at that speed. And it just doesn't happen that way. The people that you're listening to that are doing something fast, they would have had to have learnt at a slower speed before they were able to develop to get that fast.
Okay, so repeat after me. Je m'appelle.
Pelle.
A car that is a manual controlled car does not start in fifth gear. You've got to start in first gear and then gradually get faster. So it's the same when you're learning something. And so if you didn't know that YouTube has a playback speed adjuster function, well, I strongly urge you, get onto that, use and abuse it as much as you can, because it's just there. It's on YouTube. It's free. And being able to hear something at a slower speed really helps the process of learning something that sounds really complex. And another thing that I like using, I've got an app, it's called the Amazing Slow Downer. So you have a song, and you have a bunch of different settings to be able to control how you're listening to the song. So this is a song called Like This by Al Parkinson. And if I wanted to, I can that's obviously a loop, which is really helpful for just practicing a certain bit that you're isolating. And you can change key and you can change speed. Or all right, so it's all well and good me just giving you a story and giving you some advice, or would you like some real life examples? So on guitar here, I just thought I'd get this out. There is a song by a band called The Living End, and there's a song called All Torn Down. It has a fast lick at the end of the guitar solo, which goes. So what are some things that I could do in order to be able to get that up to speed? Well, firstly, I'd be doing everything that I've said in this video so far, like realizing that this in fact is a weakness that I need to work on, and figuring out some steps in order to be able to get it up to speed, and just getting the familiarity with doing it over and over again. Perhaps not doing the whole thing first, so like just the first bit, and then maybe adding the next bit. And then going on and on and on and on, starting slow and putting on the song on the Amazing Slow Downer app in a loop, and then just playing along at whatever speed that I'm ready for. All right, so I'll get my bass down to show you a finger exercise. I've seen some bass players earlier on in their playing careers, I guess, where they're good at one finger, but not necessarily great at two. And so what I would say for that is, first up, I would just get used to the second finger. Now, it'll feel really weird to do it first, but I have fond-ish memories of getting a big blister on this first finger and I had to do a performance, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I just went to the next finger. And then funnily enough, I had a student years later that he went through the same thing, but he went even further. He got blisters then on his second finger and then went to his third finger. And when I saw him for his bass lesson the next week, he was telling me about this, and he says, I'm down to my pinky and I can feel a blister coming on, but I'm hoping that this one will hurry up and heal so then I can start to get back to the first finger.
I got blisters on my fingers!
Now for the drummers out there, you could be needing to work on making sure that you're hitting in the middle of each drum skin on the snare and the toms. So a really good exercise is to just really focus on doing that. Now, let's face it, it's really easy to just bash away and not really be really particular about exactly the spot where you should be hitting. But if you really can just slow down whatever it is that you're practicing and just really focus on hitting right in the middle of each drum, it's just going to be a so much more consistent sound overall. Okay, and one very lucky last example I'll just quickly do right now for singers is something that I've had to do in the past is just really hone in on certain little tricks with particular vocal techniques. And there's one, it's a song called Sounds of Then, or This Is Australia by Ganga Jane. Just that little bit there. He goes, ooh, watch the lightning. Now, I couldn't do that at first. My voice would go like, and so what I had to do is I had to go really slowly. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I noticed that I'm doing this because I can see my reflection here in the camera. And so that's something that you can do as well to just help make things visual. I know that my old bandmate Joel, he said that, oh, I gotta stop doing this thing with the finger, you know, when he's singing and he's doing this. But he said, but man, it helps just actually getting physical with it. I don't know if that's something that will necessarily help you, if that's something that you want to do, but just isolating whatever the technique is or whatever the phrase is, and then just going through it really slowly. And then, you know, incorporating it into a song, for instance, that maybe doesn't have it, where you can give it some artistic expression. So the song Riders on the Storm by The Doors. Riders on the Storm is what it usually is. And so if I wanted to, I could go, Riders on the Storm. Sorry, Doors fans, if that really offends you, adding in like a reverse yodel, but it's artistic expression. And if it wasn't for practicing a technique from another song, well then I wouldn't have it as an option to use.
Every time we say goodbye, I die a little.
Alright, so there you have it, a bunch of things that I've gone through in this video, from the story to all of the different tips that can help you out in being able to block out all of the stuff that you can do and just focusing on the main stuff that is a weakness and you're trying to get better at it. So let me know in the comments below what was the most helpful thing for you, and have a think, how can I make this a fun game when you're going through whatever it is that you need to go through. Alright, so I do hope this was a helpful video for you. Crafty Music Tips on this YouTube channel has a bunch of different other helpful subjects and helpful video topics that you can go check out. But just before I go on the subject of going through steps in order for you to improve, well, I've got a parting gift for you. It's called 5 Steps to Fast Improvement. It's a free ebook download where I'll leave a link below for it. It basically just takes everything that we've talked about in this video even further. It gives you a hard copy that you can just go back to and refer to. And it really is the important thing to do if you're feeling like, I just really don't know what the steps are. It'll give you all of it laid out really clearly in front of you, so you don't feel like you're chasing your tail and you're unsure about what it is to do. So if that sounds like something that would be helpful for you, I'll leave the link below. Go download it. Whew. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. I hope wherever you are, I hope whatever you're doing musically, I hope that it's rocking. And until the next music tips video, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon.